What if the largest empire in the world was also the largest drug cartel in the world? In 1839, the British Empire didn't go to war for land or for freedom. They went to war to force China to buy millions of tons of opium, the drug deal that humiliated an entire civilization, the trade imbalance. In the early 1800s, Britain had a tea problem. They were addicted. The entire nation ran on tea. But China, the world's only tea supplier, operated on a cash-only basis. They didn't want British wool or clocks. They wanted silver. Trillions of dollars in silver were flowing out of Britain and into China's treasury. The British Empire was hemorrhaging money. The product. The East India Company needed a product China would buy. They found it, growing in their new colony, India, opium. It was illegal to sell in China, but who cared? It was profitable. The EIC created a massive criminal enterprise. They would grow the opium in India, ship it to fast crab boats, and smuggle it into Canton. Millions of Chinese citizens, from scholars to soldiers, became addicts. The trade imbalance was solved. Silver started flowing out of China. The fatal miscalculation in China's view. The Chinese emperor was horrified. His country was collapsing, so he appointed one man, Commissioner Lin Zexi, to fix it. Lin was an incorruptible badass. He sailed into Canton, arrested the British smugglers, and, in an act of defiance, seized and destroyed 20,000 chests of opium, over 1,400 tons. He dumped it in the sea. He believed he was simply enforcing the law. The gunboat diplomacy.
It is madness.
This was China's fatal miscalculation. They thought this was a police action. They forgot. They were dealing with a drug cartel, with an army. Back in London, the opium smugglers like William Jardine lobbied Parliament. They destroyed our property. Lord Palmerston, the Foreign Secretary, agreed. He didn't send diplomats. He sent the Royal Navy. The First Opium War began. It wasn't a war. It was a massacre. China's old world wooden junks against Britain's new steam-powered, ironclad gunboats. The century of humiliation. China was crushed. They were forced to sign the Treaty of Nanjing. They had to pay for the opium they destroyed. They had to give Hong Kong to Britain. And they had to keep buying the opium. This treaty was the first of the unequal treaties. It signaled the end of Chinese dominance and the beginning of the century of humiliation. Britain's business decision didn't just win a trade war, it destabilized an entire civilization. The lesson: the Opium Wars, one of history's darkest chapters. It proved that free trade can be enforced with cannonballs and that national interest can be a very polite word for drug trafficking. China's miscalculation was believing in moral law, when the other side was operating on the law of profit.